Hey guys, welcome back to another Diary of a Wimpy Kid book review video, and today we're going to be taking a look at book number 20, Partypooper. So here it is. We got the cover of the book here. Taking a look at this front cover here. Up at the top, you've got the title there. And it's pretty interesting how with these most recent books, Jeff Kinney's been finding different ways to kind of stylize these books. And this time around, since this is a birthday-themed book, the book itself looks like a birthday cake. So we've got the frosting, we've got the sprinkles, we've got the cake crumbs, and in the diary part of it, it's multicolored and it has a little candle for the eye there. So yeah, pretty interesting, pretty cool, pretty nice. Down here, we've got a picture of Greg stuck inside a birthday cake, chowing down with his brother Manny. We've got author Jeff Kinney's name right there. And we've got a little blurb over here saying that there are over 300 million books in this series sold. So yeah, there's that front cover there. Here's the spine. So on the spine, typical with most books in the series, we've got Greg's face there. We got the title. This is book number 20 in the series. We've got Jeff Kinney's last name there. And the Amulet Books logo down at the very bottom. So taking a look at the back, got a picture of Greg with his leg all caught up in a bunch of balloons being flown away into the sky. And we've got our description of the book here, so I'll go ahead and read it here. It says, Greg Heffley is not a fan of surprises, especially when it comes to his birthday. But he never could have guessed the shocking surprise his family has in store for him this year. When Greg's epic party plans start to unravel, he holds out hope that he'll get his one birthday wish, a rare trading card that's worth a fortune. The problem is, everyone else is after it too, and there's no guarantee he'll snag it first. Will Greg's birthday dreams come true, or will he learn to be careful what you wish for? And down here we've got all the books in the mainline series here, from book 1 to book 20. And of course you can find reviews for each of these books on the channel. So if you're interested in any of the reviews for these, you can just look on my channel. Down here we've got some information about Amulet Books. Some of the Wimpy Kid handles here. Got the pricing for the books, $15.99 in the US and $20 in Canada. Geez, Canada, are you guys okay? It's kind of a big asking price for a book, but yeah, it's probably not even that much. I got this book for like 11 bucks off of Amazon, so guess it depends on which store you buy it from. But yeah, that's that outer cover. So taking a look on the inside, so with this being the hardcover, we've got some purple pages here. Just kind of like dust protector pages, I guess. For the opening image, we've got the leg of an action figure. That'll make more sense when you read the book. But that's what that is there. Kind of interesting that that's the picture that Jeff Kinney decided to choose. And on the inside, we've got a bunch of information here. So over on the left here, it tells you, well, it lists the books of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series from book 1 to book 20. And it says more from the Wimpy world here. So it mentions the Awesome Friendly Kid books, the movie diaries, and the Wimpy Kid Do-It-Yourself book. And we've got our cast of characters here. We've got Frank Heffley, Manny Heffley, Roderick Heffley, we've got Raleigh Jefferson, we've got Susan Heffley, and we've got Greg Heffley right there. And there's our title and our author's name. And the Amulet Books logo. We've got a bunch of boring stuff that publishers make authors put into their books. And this book is dedicated to Jack, whoever that is. But with that being said, from there you go into the story. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to skip to my favorite part of the book, which is actually on page 49. And that is this picture right here. So in the book, Greg tells a story about how his mom tried to surprise his dad by having a person in a gorilla costume show up and surprise him for his birthday. And so Greg is talking about the kind of surprise he would want to do for his birthday, So in his mind, the way he would surprise his family is by dressing up as a gorilla, hiding in the cake, and then popping out of the cake during a birthday party. And that is just a hilarious image to me. I don't know what that is, man. Just seeing Greg in the gorilla costume, it just makes me laugh out loud. So one of many jokes in this book that really made me laugh. But with all that being said, what are my thoughts overall on book 20 in the Wimpy Kid series? I gotta admit, looking at the initial announcement photos of the book and seeing that this story was going to be birthday themed kind of had me worried. I'm personally not a big, I'm not big on celebrating my own birthday, so I was afraid that the heavy focus on Greg's birthday in this book was going to make me like it less. But this book may actually be one of my most favorites in the entire series. Let's talk about the setting and theme of the book. I know a lot of people have been getting tired of vacation-themed books, as a lot of the most recent books in this series showcase Greg and his family going on some sort of trip and getting into wacky antics. Luckily, this book takes place in the summertime, and Greg stays primarily in his neighborhood as he prepares for his family to celebrate his birthday. Jeff Kinney pokes fun at a lot of different aspects of birthdays in the book. Greg worries about birthday wishes, birthday and thank you cards, surprises, birthday perks, decorations and planning, party types, party invites. There's even a pretty funny point in the book where Greg explains he and Riley spent one summer crashing other people's parties just so that they could eat their birthday cake. There's a lot of really funny jokes like that Jeff Kinney is able to write about in regards to Greg's birthday. Of course, since Greg is a middle schooler with a wild imagination, he comes up with some pretty wild fantasies about the origins of throwing birthday parties, what types of things will happen on his birthday, and the types of parties that he would enjoy putting together. There are also a lot of situational jokes that are relatable, such as getting your face smashed into a cake, having uninvited guests come to your party, and trying to find ways to entertain guests for a party. The book also focuses on the aspects of collecting. At one point, Greg visits a comic shop so his dad can buy him a birthday gift, and he talks about collecting action figures and trading cards. Greg explains how his parents would buy him a bunch of action figures called Normal Bobs that are very plain, boring action figures that end up being worth a good amount of money in the future. Likewise, he also mentions the Wimpy Kid universe's version of Pokemon, which is called Micro Creatures. And he also explains how his neighborhood became totally obsessed with them. Even the adults are mentioned playing a version of Pokemon Go in this book. One thing I also found funny was that there was a couple of references to both Marvel and DC superheroes in this book, which I was not expecting. They also make movie references, such as how Greg at one point basically turns into Gollum from Lord of the Rings when he talks about his addiction to a specific trading card. Jeff Kinney also makes jabs at the mayhem caused by young men going to see the Minecraft movie in one part, where Greg mentions how he would go to the movies for some people's birthday parties. So yeah, the jokes are pretty good in this one. The thing I liked about the jokes also is that they were somewhat grounded in reality and they weren't too cartoony like some of the previous books. It makes the Wimpy Kid universe feel more real that way. And speaking of the Wimpy Kid universe, we also get some appearances from returning characters from past books in this book. We got references to Greg's classmates like Alex Aruda and Fregley. We get references to family members like Uncle Gary and Great Uncle Arthur. And there's even a really interesting development with Great Uncle Arthur that was kind of surprising to me in this book. We even got the cool Bryans back in this one. Holy moly, I haven't seen them since like book 5. So yeah, the lore building in these most recent books is really surprising, and I'm glad Jeff Kinney is having fun with the characters he's creating. With all that being said, as much as I like this book, I do also have one specific critique of this book. I think my one and only critique is that we don't really get any sort of mention to how old Greg is turning in this book. This is probably because Jeff Kinney has always said that he wants to keep his characters ageless, like The Simpsons or the Peanuts characters. That's one of the aspects of this series that I'm kind of mixed on, and the fact that this book focuses mainly on birthdays doesn't really help with that. But other than that, I really have no other problems with this book. Overall, this book was a nice surprise from the Wimpy Kid universe. I was really not looking forward to this release, but it has quickly become one of my favorites in the series. This is the first Wimpy Kid book in a while that had me laughing out loud from page to page. I always wonder where Jeff Kinney is going to take Greg on his next adventure, and I'm glad this one didn't disappoint. It's crazy to me that we are now on book 20 of this series, but that just shows that Greg Heffley has what it takes to be a long-running, iconic character. Of course, as always, I think Wimpy Kid fans and young kids will most definitely enjoy this book, but I also think the focus on birthdays and the collector's mindset is relatable enough that anyone with those experiences can find enjoyment in this book. It's a hilarious entry, and I highly recommend it for anyone of any age. But with that being said, let me know what you guys thought of the book in the comments below. Try to avoid spoilers if you can. And let me know what your predictions are for book 21 when that comes out, hopefully next year. With that being said, that's basically it for this book review video. If you guys made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next Diary of a Wimpy Kid book review. Later.